Hello Year 3, hope you're all keeping well and welcome back to your fourth day of your Innovate week. So we are going to continue writing our tale of the three little wolves and the big bad pig. In today's instalment, our villain is going to come across the third house, but this is the one they are going to find particularly tricky. So they're going to have to come up with some sort of cunning plan. Before we do that, let's start with our do now. And in today's do now, you are going to be editing for capital letters and full stops. So either you can edit straight onto the piece of paper. So if you have the worksheet at hand, great, you can just put the capital letters and full stops in. If not, I would suggest writing any words that you think would have a capital letter and any word that you think would go before a full stop. So that will save you writing out the entire thing. If you would like to rewrite the entire text with capital letters and full stops, absolutely do so. Just pause the video here and press play when you are ready for me to go through the answers. But let me read the text to you so you can hear where I would naturally put in those pauses as a reader, because that will give you a huge clue as to where the full stops will go. Joe, the old pony, was in his field. He was so old and slow that nobody rode him anymore. The wind was blowing. He felt cold and lonely. Just then, Jazz and Hal rode by on their bikes. They were going home for tea. They felt so sorry for old Joe that they stopped to stroke him. At tea time, they told Dad about Joe. Dad said he would help him. After tea, Dad went to the shed and got an old green coat and a thin rope. Jazz and Hal got the end of a loaf of bread. So press pause here and press play when you are ready to see the answers. Okay, so here are the answers. Pause the video and have a check against what you have. Remember, capital letters go at the beginning of sentences and also for people's names, which is where they have been used here. Okay. So in today's lesson, we are going to be looking at reported speech, which is going to go very well with our speech sandwiches, which we looked at a couple of days ago. So let's go back to the sentence that we used when we practiced direct speech. Little pig, let me come in. Perfect speech sandwich there. I've got my speech marks. I've got my capital letter. I've got my cheese, which are the words said, and then I have my punctuation and then closed with the speech marks again. The only thing this sentence doesn't tell me is who said the sentence and how did they say it. Nothing here to tell me. That's where reported speech comes in. So now my sentence reads, little pig, let me come in, called out the big bad wolf. What I've highlighted in blue is an extra clause which we call reported speech. Imagine being a reporter. They're telling us who said what, and it's been written in the past tense. The word spoken in speech marks is written in the present tense because it's what was said at the actual time. So remember, speech said in the story, anything that goes in the speech marks is written in the present tense because it was said in the moment. However, the reported speech is written in the past tense because we are reporting on what was said and by who. Now, said is usually our default, which means it's the most common way of saying somebody has spoken some words. But I know, and you know, there are lots of great alternative ways we can use the word said, especially when reporting speech. And I have got a lovely list here. So remember our phrase, said is dead, meaning try not to use it as much as you would like. So there are a few great ones there. You've got wail to show that someone's in real agony or pain and really upset and the volume of their voice will be really loud. You've got sighed, so someone's probably feeling a bit fed up or a little bit calmer with the way they're speaking. It'd be a lot softer. Instructed, so that tells me that it's a command. So that gives me a little bit more information about how to say those words. So pause the video here if you want to have a read through and have a think about what that tells you about how the words are being said. Okay, so I'm going to use that list of alternative ways of saying said to fill in my sentences here. Each sentence is a little bit of speech, and also in blue I have shown you who would be using or who would be saying these words. That's going to help you identify what alternative to said is best to use. So, number 1, I'm not sure where I am. Can you help me? The tourist. Now I know a tourist is a visitor to an unfamiliar place. They've come to visit and see the sights. They're asking a question there, and I know this because can you help me with a question mark shows it's a question. So I'm not sure where I am. Can you help me? Complained the tourist. Doesn't really make sense. Answered the tourist. Doesn't make sense because they're the one asking a question. Perhaps it could be asked the tourist. Number 2, everybody inside now with an exclamation mark. The teacher. So the teacher is saying everybody inside now. So that's definitely an instruction. And I know, being a teacher, that when a teacher says everybody inside now, they're probably not feeling too happy. So I reckon I would go for yelled. Everybody inside now, yelled the teacher. Gives me a huge clue as to how the teacher was feeling. I could change it though. I could probably say called the teacher or instructed the teacher. Number 3, how exciting, the little girl. So I know exciting means there's a lot of joy in this moment, and the exclamation mark also tells me that. So I think I might go for squealed because you can squeal with excitement. How exciting, squealed the little girl. If you want to think of some alternatives to my ideas, absolutely do that. You can press pause and have a go at which ones fit. You can just say that out loud. But if you want to challenge yourself and write those sentences out, you can as well. Okay, so now I've got a couple for you. So number 1, do you think they can hear us? Matt as he hid. What alternative to said would you use? Bearing in mind, think about what Matt is doing and think about what kind of sentence he's using. And number 2, I can't believe it's raining again. The teacher as she looked out of the window. Again, think about who's speaking and what the situation is. This will help inform you as to what word you can use in your reported speech. Press pause and then press play when you are ready to move on. Again, you can just say these out loud or you can write them down and upload to Seesaw if you so wish. Okay, my idea, I thought for the first one I would go for a word such as whispered. Do you think they can hear us? Whispered Matt as he hid. And I chose whispered, as I'm sure many of you did, because if he's hiding, he probably doesn't want to be found, so he's going to keep his voice really quiet. And number 2, I can't believe it's raining again, hollered the teacher as she looked out of the window. Observed the teacher as she looked out of the window. There's quite a few you could use for that one. Okay, so what I would like you to do here is to read through this extract, so this piece of text from our original story of the 3 little pigs, and see if you can spot the reported speech. Once you've done that, have a think about the effect of using these words instead of the word said. Press pause and then press play when you are ready to continue. So just going back to that, the reported speech, little pig, let me come in, he called. Not by the hair of my chinny chin chin, I will not let you in, cried the first little pig. In that case, prepare to become bacon, growled the wolf, licking his lips. Now, these are all the reported speech. He called, cried the first little pig, and growled the wolf. If he's calling, he called, that makes me think that probably he's speaking quite loudly. Maybe he's elongating his words a little bit, so making them sound longer. Little pig, let me come in, he called. Not by the hair of my chinny chin chin, I will not let you in, cried the first little pig. If somebody's crying out, it makes me think that perhaps they're feeling a little bit scared. And in the last instance, in that case, prepare to become bacon, growled the wolf. Growled makes me think that he's feeling particularly cunning and particularly scary in this instance. So definitely better than just using the word said again and again. Now that we have gone over what reported speech is, let's have a think about how we are going to change our 4th paragraph. So Like I said at the beginning of the video, we need to write about the villain spotting the third house, but he can't destroy it, and so he has to think of a plan. And when he speaks, or when the wolves speak in return, we are going to also use reported speech. So I had to think earlier about how my villain is going to spot the house, and I was going to use reported speech in this section. So when he spots the house and he asks to be let in, I said he's going to plead. So after I write what he says, which is "Wolfie wolf, won't you let me in," I'm going to finish that sentence with "pleaded the big bad pig" in an insincere voice. So that really shows that he is a cunning, sly character. And then this is the fun bit. You can pause here and also have a think about, after your character saying, no, you can't come in, what kind of plan is the villain going to come up with to get inside the house? So for me, I think I'm going to have him scale the roof and try to enter through the chimney. So still quite similar to the original tale, but I know in the original tale he doesn't scale the roof. So I'm going to think of a funny way for him to be able to do that. So pause here, think of your ideas, definitely think about what reported speech and what alternative to said you are going to use, and press play when we're ready for me to show you how I would write my section. So I'm going to switch over my camera so you can see my write-up. So I've got my three sections here. I've got the villain spots the third house, asks to be let in, the main character says no. That's where I'm going to use my reported speech, and then the villain thinks of a plan. So that's where I'm going to write about him scaling the roof. So the villain spots the third house. I'm going to continue using an adverb of time here. I thought that was really good from yesterday's lesson to show that the time has moved on. So the villain spots the third house. A few minutes later, what should the big bad pig stroll across but another house? Okay, so remember, write a sentence, read it back. Is there anything you need to edit? A few minutes later, what should O-U lucky duck, O-U-L-D. The big bad pig stroll across, needs two S's, but another house. This one was made, and I remember from my box up a few days ago, I said it was going to be made out of titanium. This one was made of what looked like a very strong metal. Titanium, in fact. And I'm going to do an exclamation mark to get across the surprise there. So write a sentence, read a sentence. This one was made of what look at a book, so two O's. Oh, like I-K-E, a very strong metal. Titanium, in fact. He decided to try his luck anyway. So he decided, past tense, to try his luck anyway. Okay, and this is where he's going to ask to be let in. The main character says no, I'm going to use my reported speech. So 66. Now, make sure when you use speech marks, they are floating slightly above your writing. Some people are having them resting on the line. That's not how we do it. So, capital. Here's my cheese. Wolfie wolf. Won't you let me in? And he's asking questions, so it's a question mark with my inverted commas there. Won't you let me in? And I need to use reported speech here, so I'm going to do an arrow there to really show that's where I did it. Won't you let me in? And I remember from my box up I said pleaded, and do you know what? Let me do this in pink so you can really see it. Pleaded the cunning pig in an insincere voice, telling our readers that he is not the nicest of characters. Now, our main character can say no. Again, 66, not a chance will I let you in. So remember that repetition, whatever your character said before, they're going to say again. Not a chance will, capital I, let you in, exclamation mark. Oh, nearly ran out of space, so let you in. Again, I'm going to use another reporter speech because I'm feeling like I want to challenge myself with my writing, so I'm going to do it again. Not a chance will I let you in, replied the wolf confidently. Because I think this wolf is probably the smartest and probably the boldest out of the three so far. So again, I have used reporter speech. I'm going to give that a tick to show that I've met my target for today. So now my villain's going to think of a plan. So I'm going to say, the pig was outraged. He's going to feel very angry about this. Outraged. He needed a plan. He decided, again past tense, he decided to use a, now I know he scales the roof, but I want to make this a little bit more adventurous. I think he's going to use a grappling hook. He decided to use a grappling hook. That's something that you throw up and it catches onto things and then you can climb up the rope. Use a grappling hook to cling onto the roof or to cling onto the house. I'm going to use a list now, so you can use my commas because this is a list of things he's going to do. He decided to use a grappling hook to cling onto the house, scale the roof, and sneak in through the chimney. Now it's an E sound, but it's EY on the end. And then I'm going to end with what could possibly go wrong. C-O-U, lucky duck, what could possibly go wrong? Remembering wrong has a W at the beginning, and I'm going to do a dot, dot, dot to have some suspense for my reader before they get to the end of my story. So let's have a read of what I've got so far. So, a few minutes later, what should the big bad pig stroll across but another house? This one was made of what looked like a very strong metal, titanium in fact. He decided to try his luck anyway. Wolfie Wolf, won't you let me in? Pleaded the cunning pig in an insincere voice, reported speech. Not a chance will I let you in, replied the wolf confidently. The pig was outraged. He needed a plan. He decided to use a grappling hook to cling onto the house, scale the roof, and sneak in through the chimney. What could possibly go wrong? Okay, so I look forward to seeing what dastardly plans your villain comes up with to finally get his way into the third house. Remember to use your reporter speech, and again, remember to put in things that you know, even if it's not the focus of the lesson. Put in adjectives and conjunctions, put in adverbs of time and manner. Really try to stretch yourself with your writing, and a huge well done for your presentation, because we are noticing that lots of people are well on their way to getting their pen licenses, so let's hope you are one of them. So well done as always, and I look forward to seeing what you come up with.